Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. Welcome aboard the International Space Station. I have you loud and clear, and I'm ready for questions. Over. Hello. Well, the International Space Station is the largest spacecraft that we've ever built. It is a floating laboratory. It's about the size of a football field, about 100 meters across. And in the part that we live in, it's about the size of a 6-bedroom house. The cool thing about this house is we can use the ceiling and the floor and the walls to do all our experiments and to run all our systems and actually to sleep. And we're traveling at over 17,000 miles an hour. We're just about 250 miles above you. And in fact, just a couple minutes ago, we passed over South America, and we'll be over St. Lucia in less than an hour and a half. Over. Well, hanging from the bottom of the space station is something that looks like half of a soccer ball. And each face of that soccer ball is a beautiful window that we can look out and see our beautiful planet. And so we love to spend a little time there whenever we can because the view of our planet is really breathtaking. And I'll tell you, when I'm in there, it is never, ever boring. There's no part of this planet that I don't absolutely love looking at. Over. In fact, we can see hurricanes from space. We are only 250 miles above you and racing around the planet, so we can see these big storms. We can see them from the cupola. We can take high-resolution photography, and we can see when they're coming. We have not had any to track since we've been up here on the space station for the last 2 months, but we did have Hurricane Ian come through just before our launch, and we actually delayed our launch from Florida while everyone tried to make better after that storm. Over. Hello, Lucia. In fact, I feel like I've been studying my whole life to be an astronaut, and I don't know that I'm ever going to stop because I really, really enjoy learning new things. In my previous life, I was a physicist. I studied physics, and then I became a pilot in the U.S. Navy, and then eventually a test pilot before I became an astronaut. And so the best thing about this job is there's always something new to learn, whether it is how to live and work in space and get better at that, or if it's helping our researchers do their experiments and learn new things about their fundamental science that they're doing. Over. Hello, Gabriel from the Cayman Islands. Well, I'll tell you, every day is different up here. Some days we're doing research and helping run those experiments that we were just talking about, and those experiments go from everything from biology to physics to research on the human body, or sometimes we're doing maintenance on the space station. Sometimes we have to fix things that are broken or improve systems that we have already. And sometimes we have to do even more adventurous things like go grapple and catch a cargo vehicle with a robotic arm, or go outside and do a spacewalk. And in fact, just last week we did a spacewalk and we built some new apparatus that we can put a solar array on, and we're going to go put solar arrays on next week. Over. Well, we can certainly take photography from the cupola, like we were talking about, and we can see the effects of climate change from time to time, depending on where we're looking and what we're looking for. But primarily, we have instruments that are mounted on the outside of the space station that are used to collect data on the planet itself, whether that be surface temperature or atmospheric content, and that helps us give information back to the researchers and the scientists to help us understand where we are, where we're headed, and what we can do about it. Over. Hi, Leanne. We absolutely can. I have not seen a volcano yet, but I'm not always in the cupola. But in fact, we did have an astronaut a couple years ago who just happened to be in there looking out and saw a volcano erupt, and he actually made a call down to Alaska, to the Alaskan Volcanic Observatory, and let them know what he saw, and they didn't even know it was erupting yet. So yes, we can absolutely see volcanoes from up here. Over. Well, space hurricanes are a little different than the hurricanes we're familiar with on Earth. You know, the Earth are based on water and rain and pressure differences and even the rotation of the Earth. The space hurricanes tend to come from energetic electrons that are coming from the sun, and then they collide with oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere, and that's what makes those beautiful colors, the greens and the blues of the aurora. And that's actually some really, really neat quantum mechanics that makes that happen. And sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes the magnetic field of the Earth is such that it actually makes a swirl of that aurora and makes it look like a hurricane. But the good news is that doesn't have an effect on us, on the planet. There's no threat there. It does sometimes maybe affect our satellites a little bit, but I haven't seen a space hurricane yet, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed for sure. Over. Hello, Vasi. Well, I'm a physicist, so I have to tell you that everything that has mass pulls on anything else that has mass. So the Earth is pulling on the International Space Station right now, but just a little bit, the International Space Station is pulling back on the Earth. So that is to say that every meteoroid is pulling just a little bit on the Earth, and the Earth is pulling on it. But we don't tend to worry about them unless they're closer than 4.5 million miles from the Earth. And if they are closer than that, they have to be bigger than 500 feet across for us to be concerned. Otherwise, they're probably just going to burn up in the atmosphere, and if they don't burn up, they're just going to be a tiny little meteorite that make it back to the planet. Over. Hello, Josh. Yes, there are other planets with volcanoes. We see a lot of old, dead volcanoes